We're going to start our conversation now, which is on tackling youth unemployment, and of course, looking at the latest news that we have, the suspension of the Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Sanusi Lamido Sanusi by the President, and the appointment of Acting Governor Dr. Sarah Alade. I'm being joined in the studios by two gentlemen, a human development expert and an economic analyst, Mike Adeleye. He's the human development expert, and Johnson Chukwu, an economic analyst and, of course, the Chief Executive Officer of Carry Assets Management. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Well, let's start with the information that we already have hitting the markets right now. As you can see on the television, it's everywhere on the newswire. The Central Bank of Nigeria governor has been suspended. Sanusi Lamido Sanusi has been suspended by the President, and Dr. Sarah Alade is now the acting governor of the CBN. What was your immediate reaction when you heard the news?
Well, when I heard the news, I was worried. I was worried because I couldn't determine how foreign portfolio investors react. I couldn't determine at that point how Nigerian foreign counterparties will react, because there are two things you have to look at. One, the issue is that if there's a conflict between the policies of the central bank, whereas monetary policy and the fiscal policy the executive, it becomes an issue. But also there's issue of the autonomy of the central bank. Would our portfolio investors react by saying that this has undermined the autonomy of the central bank, or would they consider the fact that Sanusi has only about 3 months to exit, and therefore they were already expecting that the new CBN governor will be appointed? Well, basically what has happened so far is that a lot of investors have been trying to hazard a guess on what will be the monetary policy direction of the next CBN governor, because we all know that the CBN governor's term is about to elapse. Whether they will take this as his trade that has just been brought forward, the inspiration of his trade that has been brought forward, or they're going to react violently by running out of the economy because they feel that probably the CBN autonomy has been undermined. So that's one area that the jury is still out. I think it's too early for anyone to say, look, this is exactly how the market will react. But certainly the market will react. Okay, so
looking at what we have right now, the fact that there's this ongoing investigation into missing funds and the rest of us, how does this suspension of the Central Bank of Nigeria governor right now, what kind of message is it sending out to people who are actually following up on the public hearing?
Well, I think the issue of the public hearing has already been taken over by the National Assembly. And the National Assembly said they're going to set up the forensic investigation. What Sanusi did was he flew a kite, and the National Assembly has taken it from there. So whether he is there as CBN governor or not will not necessarily constrain the National Assembly from carrying out their own investigation. But as you also know, they're doing a lot of conflicting figures. We started with 49.8 billion. We Sanusi moved to 20 billion, and then said it was with a press conference with the Minister of Finance and Minister of Petroleum. It came to 10.8 billion and now moved back to 20 billion. So, I mean, that also puts a question mark on the integrity of the figures coming out from Central Bank.
Well, not to forget the 1 trillion naira that he says is also missing as kerosene subsidy.
I don't think he said the 1 trillion is missing as kerosene subsidy. What he said is that that the amount being used to subsidize kerosene, I think about 800-something billion, was not justified because the common man was not getting kerosene at the regulated price of 15 naira. The other kerosene was selling at between 120 and 150 naira. I don't think he said the money was missing. And he also said that that amount that was used to subsidize kerosene was not appropriated, was no way appropriated by the National Assembly, and that the executive should not have any power to spend money that is not appropriated. I think those are the challenges, those are the issues he raised.
Excuse me. Sorry. Well, Mike, he already mentioned it, that the Central Bank of Nigeria, governor actually came up with a number of policies that were given kudos in some quarters and were given knocks in some others. Now, of particular interest was the fact that interest rates was still high and is still high, 25 to about 28%. And this has stifled how banks give credit to the real sector, where we have a lot of youths who have businesses and are trying to make ends meet. Now, with this removal now, how do you think it's going to affect how business is done, at least in terms of policies?
Personally, I think in the business world, the suspension of the central bank governor is going to send a lot of messages down to the entirety of the country and beyond the country as well. Because when we talk about youth employment and generally unemployment, if you look at the World Bank figure today, it's about 38%. But from the World Bank, and 80% of that is from the youth employment, which we're talking about university graduates, polytechnic graduates, and secondary school graduates as well. Now, we've been trying to move away from or diversify from the oil economy into agro economy. And the majority of the people that will be participating, obviously, is going to be from the youth, even though the real farmers, as we can see, I mean, for decades, are the elderly or the older ones. But the government is putting a lot of policies to bring the youth to actually be part of the system.
Yeah, then we have the agripreneurs.
Absolutely. Now, the issue now is, I mean, we've been advocating, which I've mentioned quite a few times, about the credit facilities that need to be extended to all these people, because training is one thing, given the tool and the mechanism to actually carry out the training you've been given to is another thing. So we're talking about the money in here. Now, the monetary policy that we've been trying to look into, I mean, we've been talking about the high interest rate, which is not favorable to all businesses in Nigeria. Now, the suspension of this chap now, obviously, is going to do two things. One, what's going to happen to the discussion on the table about the interest rate. Secondly, politically, people are going to be thinking, are they trying to sweep under the carpet what this guy has been advocating for, trying to put in the public? So it's a mix of things in here. But on the overall, I think the government should be able to, I mean, focus on the right policy. I mean, we have Dr. Alade, who has been in replacement of him. Let's see what he's going to do in the next 24 hours. That will probably quench what people agitating for, be suspicious for. I mean, but let's see typically what he's going to do in the next 24 hours.
Okay, so now I'm still talking about policies. The Central Bank of Nigeria's Monetary Policy Committee actually will meet next month on the 17th and the 18th, and then Dr. Sarah Alade, as the acting governor, is going to be presiding over that meeting. Most likely, of course, everybody is going to be listening out for what their decisions are going to be as regards the policies and the rates, the interest rates, and the cash reserve requirement on either public or private deposits. What are your thoughts? What are your expectations? Because it's too soon to speculate, we agree. But in light of the news that we have right now hitting the market, what are your thoughts as to how the market is going to fare until that time?
Leader questions for me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, basically, how the market will fare before the time is that the market may react violently or may remain calm within these few days and watch what the Monetary Policy Committee will come up with. But the fact is that the Monetary Policy Committee has very few options. You see, if you look at the challenges you have in the economy today, about the 41.7 billion we have in foreign reserve, up to 25 billion of that is from foreign portfolio investors. So you need to sustain the interest of foreign portfolio investors in this economy for you to maintain some level of foreign exchange stability. If you allow Naira to devalue, you're going to have an immediate exit of these foreign portfolio investors, and your reserve could crash to something like 15 billion. Okay,
so in terms of now looking at the policy, what should they, be looking at? What should they be looking at, ensuring that everybody has a win-win situation? Because the volatility that this piece of news is going to cause might not be in our favor in any way. And so, as much as possible, she has to keep the polity calm.
Yeah, that's why I said that they have very few options. So among the things you will recognize that, look, there's no government that will allow for a hyperinflation before election year. So whatever policy the Monetary Policy Committee will come up with, we have to be in tandem with the interests of the executive. And that interest will include to maintain some level of macroeconomic stability. And to maintain that level of macroeconomic stability, you are not going to allow Naira to devalue immediately. If you allow Naira to devalue, you are going to have imported inflation, because most of our products, most of our consumptions are imported items. And if you have imported inflation, you are going to have some level of macroeconomic instability. So I think the options left for them is to maintain some level of macroeconomic stability. And to do that, interest rates will still remain high in the short term, in the short to medium term, until after the election. They will try to maintain Naira. They will not allow Naira to depreciate by more than 10%, because anything beyond that could actually be send very long signals in the economy. So the issues that we're looking at is how do you tweak the monetary policy to allow for lending or credit availability to the real sector? Because today, interest rates in the market industry, I mean, borrowing rates about 22 to 26%.
Yeah.
So what do you need to do to improve on that? Several factors have to be taken into cognizance. Beyond the issue of interest rate. Interest rates, it's a function of, well, the cost of money to them, I mean, the direct cost of deposits, and then the overhead cost. So that's why you talk of weighted average cost of funds. And when you have the borrowing rate, the rate at which the banks take money from the public, and then that rate is actually determined by what rates the central bank is ready to pay for risk-free instruments like the treasury bills. Okay, so I think what the central bank will do, or the Monetary Policy Committee will do, or whoever takes over eventually as a CBN governor, is to allow Naira probably to depreciate marginally to maybe the rate at which the autonomous market is trading, with about 170.
Okay.
And then maintain rate at that level and still try to sustain foreign portfolio investors' interest in the economy, so that you don't have a crash of your reserve.